There is a vast difference between pain and suffering, and this distinction is critical. Some level of pain is inevitable in this life, but suffering is avoidable. Pain is designed to protect us from deeper harm. Suffering is what happens when we ignore the warning sent by our pain. Challenge today is that we live in a world that does not understand this difference, and we are paying the price. Our modern culture operates as though pain should never exist. Our culture operates as if pain is an oversight of God. A great deal for this false belief comes from the idea that this life is all we have in a YOLO, you only live once culture. There will be a demand for this life to be perfect and pain free. If we did indeed have only one life to live, of course we would demand that life to be perfect. So often we end up with chasing illusion of happiness. We believe that if we could only gain the love, approval, power, money, and beauty that we seek, we could fill our emptiness. We live in a world where the moment we feel pain, we find ourselves surrounded by countless seductive, promising to take it away. Physical pleasure, alcohol, materialism, consumerism, and some of the many escapes we use to distract ourselves from what hurts in our lives. And some of us use other seductives. Some of us try to lose ourselves in our work, in our careers. Some people try to fill the void by living online. We disengage from our real life and our relationships in order to hide in a false social media world or in our device and technology. We become dependent upon the intermediate and temporary dopamine rush of social approval. We begin to covet likes and followers and share intimate aspects of our lives in the public sphere, waiting for commentary and praise, waiting to be seen, even if it's by a perfect stranger. And yet, all along, we only become more empty and even more isolated. Study shows that reducing the social media usage to only 30 minutes can reduce your stress and anxiety. Our attempts to hide from our pain through social media end up doing the opposite. And what this pain avoidance culture fails to recognize is that even pain itself serves a purpose. Pain is a messenger. It is often a protective mirror. It points us towards what needs to change in our lives, in ourselves, and in our relationships. It tells us which habits we need to abandon and which habits we desperately need to adopt. Often, pain demands that we address hidden wounds that need healing. Pain is really good at disrupting attention and getting you singularly focused on making the bad things stop. A fascinating review of more than 500 neuroscience studies found that pain of heartbreak activated the same area of brain as physical pain. But just like physical pain, we often try to ignore and numb the pain of heartbreak. Our pain is like a smoke alarm. We want to stop, but it serves a purpose. When the smoke alarm goes off, we could simply just take out the batteries. This will give us momentary peace from noise. But the purpose of the alarm is to let us know that there is a fire in our home. The fire, the fire starts out small, but if we ignore the alarm and ignore the actual problem, what began as only a spark can burn the entire house down. Many of us suffer for this exact reason. When we feel emotional or psychological pain, we often seek a sedative rather than a cure. Often we just want to take the batteries out of our pain. Just make it quiet, make it go away. We look to numb and hurt rather than search deeper beyond the suffer to find the root cause of it, to find the root cause of the alarm and then address it. The inner search requires courage and honesty. And it's hard, it's uncomfortable. So many of us avoid it at any cost. We option for what's easier. But ironically, this is what leads to our own suffering. Suffering is what happens when we repeatedly ignore the message of our pain. Suffering is what happened to the man only after he ignored the tooth pain and did not address the underlying cause, an infection. It's what happened when we muffle the alarm.